Muy bien. Bienvenidos. Welcome, y'all. This is our first online virtual event of the Latino chapter of the local ecosystem of technology in the state of Utah called Silicon Slopes. I want to thank especially my co-founders, Antonella Packard, who is serving as the interpreter as needed from English into Spanish. Antonella has been working, she's not only an entrepreneur in the tech world, she's been with the local Latino community fighting for their welfare and their rights ever since I've witnessed that since I moved to Utah. Actually, I've also had the pleasure, the honor of meeting Luis Farfan. He has been a rock right next to me when few people believe in this concept of the Latino chapter in such a homogeneous ecosystem. He is not only a graduate from the Tec de Monterrey, but he's also a man with a great gift for communication and empathy. And we'll get to know him more as we're going to be highlighting not only his career, but his startups as well. I want to introduce to you all the pioneers of the startup scene here in the Silicon Slopes ecosystem. First of all, el señor Edgar Carreon. He is, I just met him not too long ago, a couple of weeks ago, but I have been following him for months, actually. I've been stalking you, Edgar.
Oh, man.
And I've seen how he, along with other Latino leaders in Utah Valley, have been giving service to our people in the midst of this crisis, COVID, and I really appreciate it. He's gonna let us know more about his projects and his startup in just a second. I want to welcome also Patrick Tejemula. He is a hybrid of Bolivian, Brazilian, Peruvian, you name it, man. He's South America embodied here. And are you here to see? And thank you. And I'm dying to hear what the story of Video Pew, and we will learn about it in just a second. The next is an education powerhouse, someone who I've never met before, but I've been following as well. So Jose England, y'all are gonna think that I'm quite a stalker. So I'm more of an investigator. How's that? A researcher. So Jose is a pioneer in education. He is doing miracles, not only locally, but in Mexico itself. And we're going to learn more about his initiative in just a second. Bienvenido, Jose. Okay.
Gracias.
Next one is a heroine that I virtually met for since before the inception of our chapter in Silicon Slopes. She is of Bolivian ascendancy, and she is quite the representative, and I hope that she's not the only one, along with Antonella, of the Latinas in the ecosystem startup scene. This is Andrea Ibanez. Bienvenida. Well, Andrea is in a very tough spot right now. She's in her car, and she agreed to come to this event to talk a little bit about us, about her startup, which is Streamly, and I'm looking forward to it. Let's see. Finally, and leaving the best for last is because this is a paisano mío. Este es un pana. It's a chamo. Es el único. Eduardo Enriquez, a pioneer in marketing, an innovator in marketing, as a matter of fact. Bienvenido, Eduardo.
Gracias. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, and as you're joining, I want to welcome Dimitri, Alan, Leo Di Palma, El Señor Espíritu, and Paulina Wilson as well. Thank you for being here. This is, and Octavio, I'm sorry, I almost missed you, Octavio. Octavio has been waiting for a long time. This is the last one I'm recognizing. Sorry about that, brother. Okay, Sal, did I mention you as well? Well, I hope I did. Perfect. Okay.
Well, you did, but I'm okay. I'm here to listen.
Okay, perfect.
Thanks for dropping my name, though.
No, don't worry. Welcome, y'all.
Gracias.
Okay. Quisiera saber, I'd like to know, Andrea, can you hear us?
I can, yes. I'm sorry, I put myself on mute so you couldn't hear the background noise.
Absolutely. Andrea, please, since I want you to be the first, las damas primero, you know? So tell us a little bit about yourself and about Streamly as well, please.
Of course, yeah, no, happy to be here. Honestly, this is a really great group. I'm excited to get to know the rest of you as we continue to work together. But, and if at any point you can't hear me, please let me know. Like I said, I'm in a car. We're actually on our way on a family vacation. And so part of the entrepreneurial journey is knowing when to take breaks, right? And so I'm doing my best to stay sane and also spend time with my family.
Yes.
So we are on our way to Southern California. And that's why I'm in a car. So I would show you my face, but I don't know if you want to see that right now. But yeah, so my name is, like I said, Andrea Ibanez. I was born in Bolivia. I think I heard another Bolivian in this group, maybe. I'm not sure if half. Okay, half credit. I'm just kidding. I was born in Cochabamba, Bolivia, and then I immigrated here with my parents when I was a kid, and we came straight to Utah. And it's a long story. It's a fun story for another time, but remind me and I'll tell you that story. It does have a lot to do with the entrepreneurial spirit and entrepreneurial journey, which I think I got a lot from my parents. But a little bit about my background. You know, my entire life I've known I wanted to be an entrepreneur, from just like the little side gigs I did, from the little birthday parties I would, you know, participate in, the lemonade stands, all that fun stuff. Dabbled a little bit in college as well. But then I fell in love with B2B SaaS because of the business model. Recurring revenue is wonderful, right? And I knew that technology was the future and I wanted to be part of it. And so I got my start. I graduated college early, got my start at a tech company, about 50 people, called InsideSales.com. We grew that to about 700 or so people. I was able to open up offices in the Bay Area, San Mateo, Boston, and EMEA as well. I was then recruited to be the vice president of a fintech company called Canopy. So I know what it's like to be the only female in a board meeting, but also the only like Latino, right, person of color as well. So I definitely know what it feels like to be the minority. So when I found out about this group and I was asked to join, I was like, I feel this pain on multiple levels. And then about a year and a half ago, I left my company to start another tech company called Streamly, and that's the company that I am the co-founder and active CEO of right now. And we're still early stage. My co-founder came from other companies like Qualtrics, Lucid, and Inside Sales as well. We are venture backed, so our investors are based in the Bay Area, and we build enterprise software, process automation software for the, like I said, for the enterprise. It's a little bit about my company. Did you want me to go into more detail from that, or?
We'll get back to you actually in a couple of minutes. Thank you, Andrea.
Okay. Of course, yeah.
Before we go on, Nicholas, thank you for being here. Nicholas Domingo, he was one of my first guests in my podcast. He's a man that I personally admire. His story is one of the most inspiring ones that you could ever hear in your life, and has making a difference not only in the Latino community, but in general in California. So thank you, my man. Okay, Jose Inclán, please tell us a little bit about you and about your education initiative, please.
You bet. Thank you very much. And thank you, everybody. And Gonzalo, what a great effort to put this together. Antonella, thank you very much for this. And what an inspiring story there, Andrea. Thank you for sharing that. As far as what we do, well, again, my name is Jose Inclán. I am originally from Mexico City. That's where I was born and raised. Came to Utah about 20 something years ago. I've been in Utah County most of the time. And my brother and I co-founded Inclán Interactive. It's a software development company back in 2009. We built software for many companies around the country. Here in Utah, we work with Sorensen Communication, my social practice, among others. But we saw the writing on the wall a few years ago that this is not a business that we really enjoyed and wanted to continue doing. And we would look for an opportunity to get a SaaS started. And after some research, we kind of focused a little bit on we decided that it was going to be either education or healthcare. And it came down to education, and it's been a wonderful journey. We have our own student information system. We have a payment module. We have an electronic health record system for schools. We have many other different tools that we create for education institutions. And we decided to launch this in Mexico a couple of years ago under the name Campus Móvil. And it's been quite successful down there. We work with many schools. We launched an initiative late last year, early this year, of a free communications mobile app for schools to communicate with parents and students. And it kind of lined up with COVID, so it actually became a really big thing. Our niche down there is private schools, but public schools started calling us, and we created a version for public schools. And the media kind of caught on what we're doing, and we've been in a lot of TV and print and radio down there. It's been really fun. And now we're trying to also compete up here in the States. And we're super excited. It's been a really, really cool experience to be in this environment. We're really enjoying it. And that's kind of briefly what we're doing.
Gracias, Jose. Thank you very much. I want to welcome also our latest attendants. Graciela Tiscareño Sato is a former aviator, a veteran, a Latina leader in innovation, and she's awesome. And there's this person, my sister from Venezuela, has just joined us. So, Yeji, bienvenida. Okay, Jose has joined us as well. Dimitri, he's coming back. Okay, Patrick, please tell us a little bit about your story and your initiative, please.
Thank you, Gonzalo and Edgar for inviting me to be part of this. A little bit about me. So I was born in Sao Paulo, Brazil. My mother's from Bolivia, and my father is from Indonesia, but he's Chinese. And so for me, the opportunity to come to the United States came early on when I was 8, and then moved to Texas. So I went to BYU and then did undergrad in information systems. Really grew up working while I went to school. So I worked at Novell. I watched Eric Schmidt talk about the future being advertising, digital advertising. So I always wanted to work at Google. So I got my MBA at Duke, and then tried to get into Google, but didn't make it. I got into Procter & Gamble because I really wanted to understand marketing. Then worked at General Mills, and then ended up at Google. They recruited me, which is a long story, but I'll tell you later if you guys want to hear. And then I was recruited to work at Facebook. I did product marketing over ads at Facebook, and then I saw how most advertisers didn't have enough video content and didn't have authentic content that really would allow Facebook to do what it really wanted to do to help businesses succeed. And so I created Video Appeal to be the SaaS product that would help businesses be able to capture and publish authentic video reviews and video testimonials, so that their marketing could be real, could be authentic, so consumers could really find the truth. And so Video Appeal is a startup that we're growing quickly. We've got customers all over the world. They're able to use our software to remotely collect video reviews and video testimonials and use them on their website through our video players. Use them on Shopify, use them on Amazon, on Home Depot, Wayfair, a lot of different places to grow their conversions, to use them as ads, to really show the world what their products and services can really do.
Quite innovation. Thank you, Patrick. Edgar, would you like to tell us a little bit about your trajectory and your and Dre, please?
Yes, so I'm similar to Patrick. I came here to the States when I was very young. I was 10 years old. Went through the immigrant story, watching my parents work in the field, eventually launched their own business. And I sort of followed in their footsteps. So my parents started restaurants in the early 2000s. In 2006, I started my first restaurant, ended up opening 8 restaurants since, and a few coffee shops, a coffee company. And then all of a sudden, I had a change of heart. I realized that I really enjoyed the idea of starting new projects, but I felt like what I was doing wasn't something I was passionate about. And so I looked at the experience that I had, which was heavily focused on operations, and started looking around at different challenges that people would have. You know, they always say like a business should only exist to solve somebody's need or problem. And I have a family of 3 kids, my wife, and so we have a lot of laundry. And every Saturday morning, my wife and I, are trying to get the house cleaned up, and it was just the moment we got to laundry, it's like we got to an argument because there was so much of it. And so, I started watching other companies that were doing the services where they would pick up your laundry, wash it, or you could go drop it off. They would wash it for you. And I just saw some really good opportunities for that space. So we jumped into this on-demand laundry service, which is called Dre. It's essentially parents or people we're trying to target families because families have been hit so hard with COVID in particular and having to become teachers, professionals at home. And so what we want to do is we want to go there, bring some relief by taking that responsibility away from them of doing laundry. So essentially you log in, you schedule a laundry pickup. We come pick it up, wash it, dry it, fold it, bring it back to you within 48 hours. It's very, very simple in that sense, but incredibly valuable to families right now. So
Indeed.
that's what we're doing.
Absolutely. Brilliant and simple. Great.
Yeah.
Thank you, Edgar. Let's see.
Thank you.
Eduardo, por favor, háblanos. Talk to us. Tell us a bit about your innovation in marketing and your trajectory, please, mi pana.
Yeah, of course. Thank you guys for the invitation. After hearing all of you talk, I don't feel as qualified to be here, but I'll give it a shot. I've been in the U.S. for about 23 years now, pre-Chavez, 1997. Went to school, graduated, worked for Warner Channel for a few years, and moved to an agency that got bought out by Sapien, worked at Sapien for a few years with some big fancy brands. And it got to a point where I said I could do this myself. And it hasn't been easy. I've been doing it for about 12 years now. And I basically founded Mixtura. Mixtura is a creative consultancy. We started doing web design, and over time we evolved into being a consultancy where we leverage market research to create marketing campaigns. That is not true all the time, but we are a certified partner of Qualtrics. And so we do white label for Qualtrics as we do leverage their platform to service our clients. And it could be from branding, brand awareness, brand trackers, customer satisfaction studies. And it could be as simple as conducting what we call a pulse study to help clients see how they're positioned throughout all their digital presence. And then based on that, we can create a campaign, or we can just deliver it to the client. We've been doing this for about 8 years, and the research side of it. And switching to why am I in Utah? I lived in Florida, Alabama, Florida, Texas, and now Utah. My wife works at Qualtrics now after servicing it for about, I don't know, 8 to 9 years. So that's why we're here. And I'm actually loving it. I've never done anything like this, and Utah has been so welcoming. Everybody has been so nice. And to see the community coming together to do this, you know, I've been in many states, and this is the first time that the community is so strong. Maybe because we're so few here, I have no idea, but maybe because in Texas and Florida, we're everywhere as Hispanics or Latins. So here has been a pretty warm and welcoming environment for me. So yeah, that's about it.
Excellent. Gracias, Eduardo.
Yeah.
And last but not least, one of my co-founders, el único, el inigualable, Luis Farfán.
Let me unmute myself. Thank you,
Yeah.
Gonzalo. It's been already 8 years since I moved here to the States, directly from my hometown, Guadalajara, in Mexico. I came here working for the food industry. So I've been divided and pulled by these two amazing industries, the food industry and the tech industry. I'm a computer science engineer. So I worked for the food industry for a couple of years. Then I started working for Qualtrics for another couple of years, and then another tech company, aerial imagery and analytics as well. And then I decided to start my own company, trying to mix technology with the food industry. So we have a patent on a product, on a material called polyagave, which is basically a bio-based plastic made out of the waste of the tequila production. So we're one of the few companies that is using the waste of another industry to create a bio-based product. This peer, or the product that is leading everything right now, it's a biodegradable straw, since the straws are becoming kind of a icon in terms of pollution and misuse of plastic products. But then we're developing other products. We're working with the auto part industry as well to develop non-essential vehicle parts, and we're looking after expansions in other industries. But right now, we're very focused on developing products for the food industry. We're doing distribution through Nicolas, Cisco, and other big food service distributors, and hopefully very soon we'll start expanding to the retail industry once we get more people engaged with our brand and our products.
Excellent, Luis. Take note, Graciela, he's one of the pioneers in eco-entrepreneurship here, okay? Very well. Thank you all. It's such an honor and a joy to have you all here. I'm gonna start with a round of questions. First, kind of like the elephant in the room, I'm going to start with you, and Andrea, if it's possible. What do you think we should do to increase the diversity in our state, in the ecosystem, the tech ecosystem? I want to give you the background also that Latinas are like 5 or 6 times more entrepreneurial than any other ethnic group in the United States. And yet, access to resources are very, very limited, less than probably any other ethnic group. Andrea, according to your experience, what do you think we should do to increase the gender diversity here in the state, in the ecosystem, if possible?
Yeah, no, good question, and an important question. Hopefully I get other questions too, because one of the things that does suck is always getting the gender question.
I know.
Because I have a lot more to offer than just the gender.
I know, and I don't want to feel like the token one, but honestly.
No, listen. Being an immigrant, being a Latina, being like all these other minorities, I'm used to it. But yeah, anyways, but happy to answer because it is important.
Yes.
And my little sister's sitting next to me in the car too. And she's actually one of the reasons why I think it's important for me to keep doing this is because representation is a big part of it, right?
Yes.
A big part of it is visibility. You know, when I was younger, I didn't see people that looked like me in positions like mine. Kids, young women, they become what they see. They become what they're surrounded by, right? And so if they don't have access or visibility to people doing interesting things or solving hard problems, it's hard for them to imagine a future like that for them. And so just to add another statistic, I mean, less than 0.4% of venture capital actually goes to Latina founders, which is the smallest group out of every single group that gets venture capital, right? So being able to have successfully raised, it was a huge feat for us when all the cards were stacked against us. And it's the idea of sharing your story. It's the idea of being visible. And sometimes it might feel silly because it's like, look, we haven't made it yet. We're still very, very far from making it. We may never make it, right? Because the entrepreneurial journey is a very long, very often painful one. But it's about sharing those struggles and sharing your story along the way. It's one of the reasons I'm very vocal about it on social media, but also with everyone I interact with. And that's why I try my best to be like a She Tech mentor and just, you know, be my dad's an educator for the Jordan School District. So I've spoken at his class before to the group of Latinos in Action, which is about like 40% or 40 to 50% women in that group as well. And so again, the short answer to this question is really just about visibility and sharing that story. And, you know, props to you guys. I mean, I hope I can say this, but, you know, you guys have been so great at reaching out and connecting me to people or asking me to be interviewed for, you know, articles or whatever. I mean, that does matter and that does make a difference, right? Because people like my little sister and people like, you know, maybe some of your daughters or lots of the kids in the school district right now are watching. And what they're seeing right now is no one really looks like them. No one, they don't know what their options are. So elevating those voices, telling those stories, I think is probably the number one way to do that, especially in Utah, because we do have a larger Latino population here. Yet I think I'm the only tech female founder, Latina female founder in the state of Utah. I mean, there's another one that, you know, I'd love to meet her, but yeah. So anyway, long story short, that's it in a nutshell.
Yes, and I thank you for it. I really appreciate it, and for the path that you and Antonella are carving for the diversity pioneers in a way. Patrick, you have a very diverse background yourself. Has that diversity in your own background helped you develop the entrepreneurial spirit, or help you see things in a different way, that in a way that has helped you with your leadership skills?
Oh, most definitely. So I feel like we have a responsibility as a unique culture to be able to provide a unique voice. I'll never forget that the culture I was at Procter & Gamble was different than the culture I was at General Mills. It was different than the culture at Google, and it was different than the culture at Facebook. And what I loved about Facebook was that Facebook wasn't a company that tried to get you to be someone else. Facebook was a culture that really tried to get you to be yourself. And like everything around management and evaluating who you are and what you did was around, you know, are you being who you are? And the rest of the other companies I mentioned before was all about, you need to be this way. You have to be this way to succeed. You have to be googly if you want to succeed at Google. And what I have to say is we bring such innovation, and what Andrea said, each of us need to speak up, right? We need to participate, step forward. We need to make sure that our voice is heard. And I think that for you to do that, though, in a way that's respectable, you need to do your homework, man. Like, we should do our homework more than anybody else, because anything we say, people pay more attention to if it's heard. Most of the time it's not heard. But if we speak loud enough and we know what we're saying, we can really make a difference.
And thank you, Patrick. I really appreciate that perspective. Jose and Edgar, tell me a little bit about the greatest obstacles you have had in your entrepreneurial journey, and have you been able to turning into a stepping stone instead of an obstacle, something that helped you move forward. Would you like to share a little bit about that, please?
Sure. I can go first. When we're still in the space of custom software development, and it's from the beginning, it's been really clear that we have to prove ourselves. We're not the obvious option when wanting to develop software, right? We've actually had people that come to our office, and this has happened more than once. People that come to the office and with these same words, they tell us, we just don't picture Mexicans writing software, right? Because there's a stereotype that we do other things, not software. So it's always been, I've had that feeling that we have to try extra hard to gain that confidence, that approval, so that we would get jobs, right? So that actually made it so that we pushed ourselves harder in the quality of the products that we're turning out. I think that's really gained us a really good reputation in the state as far as software development goes, of turning things on time, on budget, and with great quality. So I think that obstacle that we had, that perception that we had, or the people have of us, we took that opportunity to prove them otherwise. That we are capable, that we can do it, that we're just as good. So that's one example that I can share with you.
And I thank you for Edgar.
Yeah, I want to add a little bit to what Patrick and Andrea mentioned. I think one of the challenges that we face as a community is we're super fragmented, and we have these many groups. And so it makes it really hard for us to have this one platform where we can amplify each other's voices, because we're sort of all speaking from our own little hill. But to go into that question of biggest or bigger challenges to overcome, I was in the restaurant industry for 14 years or so, and my big challenge was understanding how I could use that experience in a totally different space. So going from operations, from several locations, management, et cetera, building teams, building systems, implementing technology to be more efficient, I had a really hard time. It took me about a year to accept to myself that I could do more than what I've been doing for the last 14 years. And so that was really one of my biggest challenges, was just saying you can do more with what you know, with the experience you have. And, I worked really hard in using that insecurity as a strength now in building this startup that has incredible operational challenges.
Thank you, Edgar, and I really appreciate that. And I would like to bring the conversation back into our chapter that we're founding today. So I've been meeting with the different elements of the Silicon Slopes ecosystem for a while, and what I was noticing was a big absence of the members of the biggest ethnic group in the state of Utah, which is the Latino, Ibero-American, LatinX, whatever we call ourselves these days. We as Latinos were not there, and I, despite the fact that I couldn't see us in those meetings, I knew that there were leaders in our people, and there were people that were innovative, and there were people that were entrepreneurial, and that there were people that had great ideas, but simply, just like Edgar said, we were totally dispersed. And there were even several brilliant people in the startup scene that didn't see themselves as part of a community. And I wanted to do something about that. I think that right now we're making history because the way to build a community is to start having experiences and creating empathy together. And speaking on empathy, I would like to address a question to my fellow Venezuelan, Eduardo Enriquez. In the last few years, we've seen how our country of origin has gone through a metamorphosis from a good economy into a very miserable economy, and great suffering that our people are going through right now. So in a way, that's the Venezuelan American experience has been marked by I want to say I don't want to say tragedy, but I say that as trials, tribulations, things to overcome. And bringing it back to empathy, has that experience, the Venezuelan American experience, helped you in the marketing field? I personally think, as a marketer, that one of the critical skills that you need to develop is that of implementing empathy into your professional life, and especially with your clients. Is this something? Has this been your experience, Eduardo? Please.
So, for being a Venezuelan, I've been here for a real long time. So I saw who we were before Chavez got in power, and not to correct you, but I do call it a tragedy because people are being affected at every single level. There's not one person today that it is immune to what is happening. Yes. But not to extend on that, because I think we can talk about the Venezuelan situation forever.
Yeah.
I think that being a Venezuelan here, it kind of not allows you, but it puts you in a position where you have to be scrappy. You have to look for ways to make things happen. And I don't think it's a Venezuelan thing. I think it's a Latino, I mean, at least in South America, every single Venezuelan that I meet here in Utah, they've been here for 8 months, no more than a year and a half. They've bounced from Florida to Texas, and they land here. And the first thing they tell you is, yeah, I'm trying to open a business. I'm trying to do this, I'm trying to do that. I'm working, but I want to own my own business. I want to do things on my own. And they asked me, hey, how did you make it? And it's so hard to explain, but it's basically telling them exactly what you're doing. You're doing one thing to take a step and try to make it happen. And I mean, I don't know if I'm answering your question, but
actually you are. Yes.
I don't think it's a Venezuelan thing per se, but rather the way that Patrick mentioned it. It's we're such a melting pot of cultures that, to be honest, I don't think that Latin Americans see the difference between each other once you're in the United States. You're all under one pot, and so we kind of relate and try to help. But I mean, I'll leave it at that. I don't know if I'm just rambling at this point.
Actually, I don't think you are, because you brought something very, very important. Is and I'm speaking redundancy, but it's very, very important to create that sense of unity. And I think that in the Latino culture, that is a common place. The sense that, like, we're in this together, and we have a similar experience, and in our perception, in our imagination, there is that goal of working together towards the collective success of our people. So thank you, Eduardo. You're touching very, very special points.
No problem.
And Luis, you're my friend. I've known you for a while, but I'd like you to tell me if the culture shock from Mexico to the Salt Lake Valley? Was it hard to overcome? And if it was or wasn't, what did you do to adapt to a new situation in the entrepreneurial or in your life in general as a Latino?
Yes, so I think that's part of our kind of genome as a Latino. We're very resilient and adaptable. So definitely, yes, it was a cultural shock, and coming from a very liberal way of living and the environment around. But I mean, you start appreciating things that are very important here in this community: security, reliability on the authorities and that kind of thing. So yeah, I mean, I think that's something that it took me around 3 to 4 months to really embrace and understand. And it's funny now that I go back to my country, or even just doing a Zoom meeting with some friends in Mexico. I mean, they treat me like a foreigner, and I'm not
Oh, wow.
I'm not 100% Mexican anymore, and that's part of the adaptation process that you need to go through. And I mean, I think it's a natural process. I think that that's kind of the thing that we need to live with forever and ever, like that duality, that dichotomy in our culture and in the way that we interact with our own community and with the rest of the community. And that's kind of the struggle that I think it's we're living. We're going through that process, not as an individual, but as a community, where we're going through that process of living behind our country and adapting to and being part of this new country and becoming a new community, or integrating more in this community in a way, and in that process avoid losing our integrity and identity.
Thank you, Luis. Navigating that balance very well. So I want to open right now the Q&A for the rest of the attendants. And the first one that I would like to give the opportunity to speak is Graciela Tiscareño Sato, a leader in innovation. She has something to say about how we can build this community, not only locally, but the entire Latino tech ecosystem. Please, Graciela, can you tell us your idea? Oh, I'm sorry, Graciela, I can't. You're muted, and not from my end. No. I'm in the meantime to see. I'm going to give you.
I'm going to take the Bluetooth
Perfect.
off. Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes, please, Graciela, tell us, because Graciela was one of my guests in my my podcast, and
Can you hear me now? I've got this off.
Yes, we hear you. Go ahead, Graciela. Oh, well, Graciela was telling me the importance of asking as Latinos how. We are very used to the phrase "si se puede." You know,
okay, I've turned off all my headsets. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm just listening to all these stories, and I just need to know more about all of you. But I'm sitting here reflecting on 10 years of running a business that I started. We're celebrating our 10th birthday next week.
Hey.
And remembering what that was like in the beginning, right? And especially the money. And we've been funded not through VCs. We never did that. We waited till about year 6 and then got an SBA backed loan, a 6-figure loan that we needed to open up other markets. But I'm listening with the perspective of what we did 10 years ago here in Silicon Valley to address a lot of what I'm hearing right now, which is how do we get seen as a community? How do we find each other? And then how do we bust those stereotypes? You know, I was really struck by who said it. Why, you know, you're Mexican, we don't see Mexicans doing software, you know, that mentality, right? What we did, and it was led by a dear friend of mine named Frank Carvajal, is he had written a book called Building the Latino Future, which I recommend to you. We put together like 50 stories of Latinos in leadership in different parts of industry, business, government. And he wrote these, oh, you have it in your hand right there. So Frank wrote this book, and then he's like, okay, the book's out there, and okay, now what, right? And one of the people in the book said, we need to come together and be seen by the world, not just in the pages of a book, but more intentionally. Now, yes, we're in a pandemic right now, but I'm still going to tell you what we did, because this is something you can do virtually and then, you know, other ways.
Please do.
We started, and then he met with me to ask me to be his promotion partner. And what we did is we created the Silicon Valley Latino Leadership Summit. So we called it that. Like, okay, you don't think we're in leadership, you don't think we're in Silicon Valley as Latinos, well, we're gonna make an event, we're gonna show up, and we're gonna show you that that's who we are. And so every year on the Stanford campus, so we're on the Stanford campus, not in a back shed, we're like on the campus at the faculty club, so like Innovation Central, and we have 250 people like are right here. But more importantly, we attract the venture capital community. We attract the major corporations, all the names of all the companies that have been said here today, you know, executives who are Latinos and who are not Latinos, they attend. And so now it's become the event every year to gather with innovators, venture capitalists, and professionals who want to do business with small businesses like ours, or recruit us. And then we've been reaching back into colleges and high schools and bringing those students, so that what Andrea said earlier, so they can grow up seeing this community. And so we have kids from the Central Valley whose parents are, you know, migrant workers, and they're 15, 16 years old, and they're coming to meet with us, and just they're there all day, and they bring cards and we network. So it was not waiting for somebody to invite us to the table. It was basically saying, we're going to have our own damn party and you're welcome to come here. And that's what we've done. That's how we've shown up. And now there's no question as to the level of innovation and entrepreneurship that we create. You know, we've got Laura Gomez and the company that she creates to do analytics to remove the bias from the hiring process and resumes. I mean, there's like so many examples. And from that event, that's where I launched Latinovating, by the way, Gonzalo and Luis, is at the second one, Frank offered me a chance to launch the book at this event. So it's literally, you just put the event together and you show up and you show them that you are leaders in technology, you exist, and you're doing it, and then you invite them to come be with you. That's what I would do.
Thank you, Graciela. Thank you so much. Mm-hmm. That is one of the things that we as a community need to hear in this local ecosystem. And I hope that we can keep that connection, because we could certainly learn from the experience of a Latino in Silicon Valley. I'll tell you that. Very well. Thank you once again, Graciela. Any other questions for our guest presenters?
I just have a comment.
Please, Paulina.
So,
I hear you.
Yeah, Paulina from Chilena. I've been here since 2001, right before the Olympics. And okay, so I could give you my background, but we should all get together on LinkedIn, connect. So we should get a list of who's all attending. But the point I wanted to make is, one, this is therapy. Two is something that I've missed, and it's we are not taking advantage of what everyone else has, that I've noticed from bringing each other up through their connection. Like the fact that I didn't know any of you guys and I'm just up the street is crazy. Like I've been working with Jeremy Andress at Traeger, and he was connected to everyone, and someone's cousin gets him to mentor him. Like there's so much going on through connection that we really need to capitalize on. I guess.
Paulina, you're cutting, but please give me a thumbs up if I got the gist of what you're saying. Is that first, we do need to start connecting with each other because, well, we haven't met. You didn't know about us, and I'm glad then that this platform is working for it. And two, start building that sense of helping each other, again, building each other, tender la mano, just we're in this together kind of a mentality. Is that what I'm reading, Paulina? Oh, we lost her. I'm sorry.
Can I add to that a little bit, Gonzalo?
Please, Edgar, adelante.
So I moved to Utah about a year ago. And one of the things that and this is very blunt, very transparent, one of the things that I noticed within our community is that we hold on really tight to our networks, almost as if it's the last one left. And so we definitely need to break that mindset of this scarcity mentality and start opening the doors, because the more success and the more progress we have around ourselves, the more opportunity there is for us. But one of the things that I did when I came here to Utah was I got online, LinkedIn, Facebook, and all, the platforms, and I started seeing who was speaking the most, who was saying the most within our community. And I made it a goal to get in touch with everybody that I identified. And that's how I got to you, Gonzalo. It was in a conversation that I was having with somebody else. Your name came up. I wrote your name down. And I said, I got to talk to him. And in a follow-up conversation, somebody mentioned your name again. They said Silicon Slopes Latino Chapter. And so right away, I sent you a message and I said, let's talk, as soon as we can about that. And so I think, number one is if we have a network, be more open about that in sharing it with other people. But number two is that if you don't have the network and you need the network, send a message. Make the call, whatever it is that you've got to do to break through, you have to do it. That's one of the things that makes us so unique as Latinos, is that we have a very passionate approach to getting to where we want to go. This is a totally different space for us. You can say we've been in it for a long time, but we're starting to get loud. But we really have to start breaking these barriers ourselves instead of waiting for somebody else to just open the door on their own. But I think that's one of the ways we can do it. And I'll mention Patrick because I admire what he's been doing with Video Peel. But Patrick, if you don't mind me sharing, Patrick, raise your hand if you don't want me to talk about your company being funded.
No, you're fine.
But Patrick was recently funded. He went to Techstars in Boulder, Colorado. And, he's a great resource as far as how do you prepare to receive funding. Now, his way might not work for you. But if we're in that stage as Latinos, Patrick is the guy. Send him a message on LinkedIn and say, Patrick, I'm working on this. I would love your feedback on so-and-so. That's really what's going to change this.
Thank you, Edgar. I really appreciate it. Again, I see Paulina is back with us, and thank you for bringing up the need of acting as a community, helping and building each other. Our time is running out, but before we go, once again, I want to thank not only every single one of you, but particularly Antonella Packard for working as our interpreter. We wanted to have the event in both Espanol and Inglés because we want to unify as much as possible our community. We have today people not only from Utah. We have 2 people in Venezuela. Leo, where are you calling us from? Sorry, go ahead.
Here, can you hear me now?
Yes.
I'm from Salt Lake.
Salt Lake as well? Okay. I had Nicholas is in California. Sal, are you in Utah? Give me a thumbs up if you're in Utah. Very, very well. Okay. A good friend of mine has joined us. Benny, love you, brother. I'm glad you're here. Dimitri, I don't know you, but I hope we can get to know each other from now. Better, Samantha, likewise. Okay, Graciela, such an honor to have you here as a pioneer from Silicon Valley. Thank you. Octavio, thank you for your patience. Gracias. He's for being so, for being there, for believing in us. Jose as well, and Alan. And unfortunately, we lost a gentleman from the capital, the VC firm. Marcelo, one of the startup, Colombian American startup pioneers here in the Valley as well. Jose Ochoa, a good friend of mine. Well, good things are about to happen here. Gracias, Jose. Muy bien. Okay. Please, if you haven't signed up, go to Silicon Slopes, Silicon without the E at the end, siliconslopes.com/Latino. Again, siliconslopes.com/Latino, and you can sign up in our chapter. We want to hear your ideas. We want to hear the anhelos, las ganas que ustedes tienen to do more events, and so we can know what we need to provide as a chapter to our people in this space, in this technological space. Los quiero
Can
mucho.
I say one more thing?
Yes, Graciela, please.
Just when Edgar was talking, I felt something in my heart, and I just really want to piggyback on it. The whole scarcity mentality, right? Like if you grow up with scarcity, then guess what? Your mind is programmed for scarcity. And a lot of us are there. I know I've been there for a long time. Okay. But one thing I always say to all the young people I mentor, I said it today at Texas State for an innovation panel I was part of. I said, you will be successful when you surround yourself with people who want you to be successful. And for a lot of us, we didn't have that. We had people telling us that we're crazy because we want to go to college 1,000 miles away or whatever. People putting you down when you're trying to do that different thing, become an engineer, start a business. So this right here, we all want it. We want to surround ourselves with people who want us to be successful. And then, you open up your networks and everything else, but it starts with just believing that I need to be with people who want me to succeed, right?
Yes.
And there's lots of ways to do it, and we're getting creative during the pandemic, but for me, it really starts there. And let's not lose that curiosity and that beginner's mind that lets us continue to just ask the question and ask for help. And not be afraid of asking for help. I think too many times we're like, we don't want to look bad because if I ask this question, I think it's dumb. And I see that all the time. And, the college students I mentor, they don't think that way. They just ask everything. So, put on your beginner mind as an entrepreneur and just ask for whatever you need. And like I said, I'm here to connect you with anybody in my network. And if you want to get, not VC funding, but like an actual loan because you're ready to scale, I can take you through that process and connect you with people because I've done that. So.
Wow. Muchísimas gracias, Graciela. Thank you, every single one of you for being here. Jesus, I didn't mention you, but you're local too, and gracias. Thank you for being here as well. My niece, mi sobrina, Eugenia, te quiero mucho, y I hope you can see the potential that there is in our people, and not because what we see in Venezuela right now, it doesn't have to be this way. We have the potential to go much farther. Tenemos el potencial de ir para el cielo. Very well.
Gonzalo, also,
Yes.
I would just like to add regarding Andrea's comment at the beginning that hopefully it was not only that question that she was able to answer. I'm sorry that we lost all of our time, but it would be great if we can have a follow-up with her because I think she has a lot to share. I mean, it's a lot of us here that we need to say something, but I will love to reopen the mic for her so she can share more about her experiences and what she can share with the community.
Gracias, Luis. Absolutely. One last thank you. I see that the gentleman from Rick's Shield Capital is here, and we would love to get to know you, and we love you to get to know our community as well. Muy bien, sin más nada que decir, para darle el break a Antonella, que está probablemente cansada de hablar y hablar y hablar. Gracias a cada uno de ustedes. Thank you to every single one of you. Nos vemos y se cuidan. Let's keep in touch. I'm going to post in most likely our chapter this Zoom. Nos vemos. Éxito.
Gracias.
Saludos. Hasta luego.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Adiós.